And you're saying it this time.
Lady Elizabeth Autumn McReynolds Groves.
I noticed you trailed off. You want to do that a little bit louder?
Lady Mc...
What?
You got me all messed up now.
What's your name?
You know what I'm... You know
What's your name?
You know what my name is.
What's your name?
Lady Elizabeth Autumn McReynolds Groves.
So you say it quiet twice in a row. You're so
It
slick.
wasn't that quiet. I can see the lines.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope that we're live. And if we're not, then won't we feel foolish?
Is the volume all the way down?
No, but it's about to be. Ooh, because let's see. I'm not logged in. So it's not even counting me. I did that the last time too. So should I blow the whistle on myself? Aw. I just got this whistle, guys, from my BFF Mandy. And we had a really good time. We went and hung out with her at a fundraiser. And her fundraiser for work. It was pretty cool. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I'm trying to log in. So let me log in. This is very strange. I haven't had to do this in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so Beth, while I'm trying to do this, why don't you fill people in on what we just did?
Okay, well.
But this time talk, like loud.
I'm talking. I can see the line.
What else? What else?
You be quiet over there.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk?
Because
I don't mind letting you talk. You can talk.
Just talk, for the love of Pete. What did we do?
We went to Amanda Passmore's work. What was it called again?
I don't remember.
Oh, it was Elm something.
The place she works?
Yeah.
Can you not give all her personal info out?
Right.
Like her first and last name and where she works? Just saying. You're welcome, Mandy. Okay. So, anywho's, we went there.
Yeah.
And
they were having a sort of fundraising carnival going on, and they had a silent auction with stuff. And they had a few vendors there, and they had a big the bounce house, of course, for the kids, which there wasn't really. There was a couple kids there when we got there, but then they kind of disappeared.
Talk about the drama.
The drama.
Foam.
Oh yeah, the foam machine. Good Lord.
So look, Sweet Baby's on there. Carol Melvin.
Oh hi.
So I just sent a message to her. Anyway, okay, so they had foam. Soap foam. Like bubbles.
And it was like a 50-gallon jug, sort of garbage can size, and they had a machine in there, and it was full of like soapy water, I guess, and I don't know how that hurt.
Yeah. Okay, there's a desk here.
Yeah.
So try not to hit the desk with your knee.
I'm trying.
Okay, try harder.
Yeah, I'll try harder in the future.
Trying is need. You know, if you really want to do it, then just do it, or do not do it. But either way,
I can't promise I won't do it again.
Didn't ask for a promise. Just stop it. That's what I tell people. I look at them and go, just stop it. Just stop doing what you're doing. If you know it doesn't work, stop doing it. Right? You know what I know doesn't work?
What?
You can't guess.
There's all kinds of things that don't work.
So tell me what I think doesn't work today.
Oh, today?
I have a shadow on me. Anyway, what doesn't work today? What do I think doesn't work today? Your mom.
I don't know. What do you think doesn't work today?
I just told you, your mom.
That
was the joke. Thanks for ruining it. I had a good thing going there, and you just totally put a wet blanket on it. So, anyway, so we went to the fundraiser, and there were little games, and I won myself a whistle. And so this is my very first whistle as a coach. And it works. You're welcome, people listening. Okay, so the kids played in foam and made a huge nasty mess. And believe it or not, and I'm sure you'll believe it, but my children trusted me when I looked square at them and said, in order to get that foam off of you, you have to roll in the grass. So guess what? I turn around and look, and there's Lucas rolling around in the grass.
Yeah.
So then he doesn't just have foam on him, he has foam and dry grass all over him. And he goes, let's go to the bounce house. You're welcome, Mandy. You get what you get. But,
there's got to be some kind of parent award for that.
Total. And then Mandy, as Quentin said, gaslights me into doing something with her. And then she pushes it. And so that's what she did. We went on the bounce house and it was amazingly fun. Sad but true. So we go on it and it's an obstacle course and I get up to the top and I was wearing my socks because I took my shoes off. And I don't like socks, so mine are loose because I hate stuff on my feet. So as I'm going up, my sock is coming off and I'm getting paranoid and freaking out because it might touch my foot. And so I had to stop. So she had just a smidge ahead of me. And so she's sitting there and I pull myself up and try to knock her down as I'm coming up. And so she leans back and then she shoves me down when she comes up. And it was the best time ever. Beth was horrified because I went flipping down.
Yeah, I got a good
but,
picture.
But, you know, I was smart because I don't want to break myself. I kind of just went into it. You know, if you turn your wheel into the slide, right, you don't hydroplane. So I was using that principle. So I went into the slide, which made us talk about something. That whole slide scenario. We're coming back with Quentin, Oliver, and Lucas. Alex has big things today, so, you know, she can't be bothered with us.
Yeah.
So we're headed back, and we're talking to Q, and he's all... he's rehashing what he did. And what he did was go down it as fast as possible, overshoot the slide, and have to flip out of it to keep from dying. So he landed on his back on the mat. And so he's rehashing that. And I was making fun of him, saying he's never been able to slide right. Because his first experience with the slide was almost identical to that, except he didn't flip. He just hit his button bounced. And that, my friends... that was the best day in parenting ever because Beth and I just stood there and laughed at him. And it was raining too. Like it wasn't raining hard.
Raining. It was just, it had been misting out. So everything had just a real fine layer of water. And he went down that slide fast.
Oh, man.
It wasn't a very big slide.
Oh, it wasn't.
He wasn't coming down from the stratosphere.
No, but there was a deep rut. So
it was funny.
It was like I don't know why. Leave it to Fort Bragg. But like there was a drop that was like, you know, a foot drop or better.
You know, after a while, everybody comes off the slide and then they scuff their feet in the dirt and it kind of makes that rut. Well, it'd been happening for a while, it looked like.
Yeah. And, you know, shortly after we moved out of that hotel, they tore it down. Yeah. Remember? Made a big parking lot. And then that's where I went and got a Christmas tree when you were deployed.
I remember that.
I had to drive. We waited in line for 4 hours to get a free Christmas tree on base because, you know, she was deployed and I had the 2 kids and they wanted a Christmas tree. Well, I wasn't going to put one up. And then Beth let me know she was going to be home for Christmas. And so then we all panicked. And this is like the last of the trees. And so I go sit in 4-hour line for this free tree. And then I get it home and it's like Charlie Brown tree. But it's giant. It's a giant Charlie Brown tree, but it unfolded and it was like one limb was like way out here and 3 were up here. But
it was wonderful.
It was absolutely the most fantastic free tree I've ever gotten. And now we get real trees, though. I mean, we have most years that we've been together, which is almost 20.
That's one thing I liked about when we moved in this house. We can get the big 9-footers.
And I am so anti-big 9-footers. I'm all, just let's get a tabletop tree and decorate it in miniature stuff. Because I'm all about the miniatures. And we live in this house that's ginormous. And all I can think is, do you know how many miniatures I could fit in this house? That'd be a lot of miniatures, right?
Quite a bit.
Well, go figure. I'm fun-sized myself, so, you know, why not? So talk to me. What's going on with you? Talk to everyone that's listening. What's going on with school?
Oh, well, I'm done with programming. That was...
Nerd.
It was an elective, so it's not part of my actual degree plan. It's just...
So you got to choose that.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Out of everything that they had, I chose it's like Introduction to Python, you know, and it was kind of lame.
Don't vape.
I thought it was gonna be much more hard. I thought it was gonna be much harder than what it was.
Don't say that because there's people right now going through it hating it because it's so hard. There are so many different levels of difficulty. I wouldn't do it. I would think that it was hard. So what now? You hurt my feelings. You cut me deep, babe.
The instruction was for a college course, it was basic. It was really basic.
You're basic. How about that? You like that? Do you like being called basic?
But that was.
Do you like being called basic?
I'm just saying.
You just called me basic.
Sorry.
Do you like that? Do you like that? Look, I am anything but basic. So
if you call me basic, you're really calling yourself basic.
You need to stop it. You need to stop it. That is the guru's words right there. Oh, poor Q. Yeah, poor Q, my butt. There ain't no poor Q. He really could not slide right. You just don't understand. And he still doesn't get it. It took him forever to do jumping jacks right.
You might have been, rushing over there to help him, but you'd have been laughing too.
Oh, the whole way. It was amazing. Nico is photobombing again. I think he likes it when the camera comes out. It's weird.
He's sitting on his little tree stump.
Yeah. He's been something lately. So, what were we talking about before I got distracted?
We were talking about Amanda's
after that.
fundraiser. After that. I don't know.
We were just talking about something. Oh, well, who cares? It is what it is, right? Okay. Oh, so you were talking about school.
Oh, yeah.
You called me basic.
No, you called
yourself
basic.
Then I said that's the guru's words coming back to haunt him, right? I'm eating crow right now. Oh my God, that means every time I called you a nerd, I was calling myself a nerd for marrying you.
I have 3 classes left, and then my senior seminar, and I will be a graduate. And that should be over by April next year.
April next year, we're going to tear it up. We're going to have to throw a party. Big graduation party. Carol will be here. She'll be able to help us plan.
Now I have a bunch of poetry to go through, which is...
Oh, horrifying. Aunt Donna would love that, though. Aunt Donna's quite the poet. She has shared some poems with me, and it makes me feel good, to know that I come from that genetics.
Funny enough is...
Your face.
Yeah. I didn't really get into poetry a lot when I was younger, and but I mean I couldn't really understand it. The interpretation was terrible. But I've done a few poetry classes, like in the creative writing, portion of my degree plan, and it's actually really easy now for me to read through and understand, what this emotion is and what that emotion is.
That's because you're smart, baby. I call you a nerd for a reason. You always declared yourself a geek because you didn't have the grades. That's what you said.
Yeah.
I think that you're a pretty cool nerd. You're smart. You're cute. I'll keep you. How do you feel about that?
Lord.
Oh, Carol. Somebody else needs to comment, please. Somebody else talk to us. She loves us. You like my shirt? One of my favorite people is Beetlejuice, and my shirt says it's showtime, and it has Beetlejuice on it. And I am positively entertaining, and so is he.
True story. They're supposed to be having a new one come out.
I know. Oh,
that one I'm so excited about it because it's going to be Michael Keaton, so it's...
We watched The Wonder Years.
Yes.
The new Wonder Years. I thought it was fantastic.
Loved it, yes.
I love seeing the African American view. That, for me... speaks volumes for where we've come as society, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, like that even people like us, everybody is willing to watch it, to give it a try, because there's that connection, that speaks to all of us. And it's no longer people looking at race. It's people just looking at people. Our kids have no idea that Fred Savage was in the Wonder Years, little white boy. They have no idea because they don't watch it.
Yeah.
So this is what they get to see.
Yeah, that speaks to their generation.
And it's stuff that my kids know nothing about. So I think that it's amazing, incredible, and I love it. And it's very nostalgic for us. And we also watched, what was the other one?
Oh, Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island, another fantastic one. But
yeah. One we used to also watch as kids.
Yeah, and I like how they incorporated the tattoo, the actual physical tattoo.
Right.
That was clever. That was amazing. So y'all need to watch that if you ever watched Fantasy Island, because it's the same feel-good stories, But we also watch Little House on the Prairie, and we have to watch Highway to Heaven. I've watched it throughout the years, but you haven't seen it. And
yeah,
so, you watched one.
Yeah, that one episode.
So we need to get back on that. And with Carol, we're watching Shameless, which we talk about all the time. Oh my gosh, Shameless. that show.
What can you say about it anymore?
It gives me such anxiety because, I know that a lot of that is real. I mean, I know people in those situations, and some of them I've been in. And if I had grown up in the city and not on the farm, that probably would have been me. It's a real eye opener. It keeps me grounded, I have to say. So, Beth, what are you going to do after you get your degree?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
You going to write poetry for me?
Not likely.
You were just talking about how you finally get it.
I do.
So why not a few examples?
I will certainly write you something.
Do you want me to give you a haiku? Do you want to hear a haiku?
No, not right now. Not on live camera. No.
Well, I have a very heartfelt haiku that I wrote in 4th grade. Thank you.
Okay.
I've always loved rainbows. I was that queer kid that always loved rainbows. And
this is
I
4th
wrote.
grade. You
This
feel
is
like it's
4th
safe.
grade. This is 4th grade. I was little Johnny. I got to be honest. But okay, so I wrote about rainbows, and it was rainbows. Wait, I don't remember. Rainbows have feelings of happiness and sorrow left from God's promise.
Oh, wow.
That's for a 4th grader. I thought, I wasn't
Very
in 4th
good.
grade.
I would have given you an
Third.
A+.
No, 4th. Maybe 5th. Now, hell, I don't even know.
What did you get on that?
It got laminated.
Nice.
Right?
Laminated.
Do you remember if you got your stuff laminated in school, like you were in charge?
Yep,
that
you're
was
big shit.
And sometimes if you had a cool teacher and you had like a project that you did on your own, like if you did a doodle or something, and you went to the cool teacher and you're like, "Can you laminate this for me?" They would sneak it in. I had one of those teachers. Her name was Sunshine. That was her actual name, Sunshine Smith. Pretty cool, right?
That is a nice name.
Yeah. Otherwise, just Mrs. Smith. But then you hear Sunshine, and she was only like 4 foot tall, and she was very petite. So she was like a little ray of sunshine all the time, and blonde. So it was pretty neat. It was like having a Barbie doll teacher. Like I was almost bigger than she was. But that's not saying a lot. I quit growing in 5th grade. Like I grew to 5'2" and then stopped. So I was tall for a while. Like for 1 year, I was tall.
You were taller than everybody
I
else.
was.
It was short-lived.
Well,
But
because
you got a little taste of it.
I started school late. Shut up. That's wrong. And I got a taste of it for 15
years.
years.
What's she saying no for?
Huh? Oh God, I don't know. Carol, what did you say no for? It could have been anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we've covered a lot of ground. Very easy answers though, and nobody else is typing to us.
That's okay.
It is okay because they might listen later and they might just not want to engage because it is a little confusing, I think. But I love doing the podcast because I love talking. But I want to stop talking and I want you just to fill the time now. I want you to talk about what you want to talk about.
Oh, but I don't want to talk about anything. That's not fair. Gosh.
I can't hold this much longer.
Well, you're going to have to help me out a little bit.
You're supposed to pull a question, Dingus. Here.
Oh, well, you could have said that at the beginning. You
I could have. I figured you'd catch on.
No, I'm not a mind
Oh,
reader.
you know what? What's wrong is we call Oliver and Lucas Dingus and Wingus, and they actually will tell us when we're wrong. Like if I call, because Dingus,
they'll call you out.
Yeah, Dingus is Lucas because he's the first, and then Oliver is Wingus. And so if I call Oliver Dingus, Lucas looks at me and says, "I'm Dingus. That's Wingus." You know that they're going to do that at some point in their adult life. Oh, to the point. Too late. Oh, Carol. Yeah. It is risky. Anytime I ask you if you want to hear something from me, you're always taking a chance. Did you scan them or did you just pick?
Not picked.
Read it.
Does hardship make a person stronger? If so, under what conditions and at what point is it too much hardship? If not, what makes a person stronger?
That is a complicated question.
Very complicated. I think should have switched to a simpler one.
Does hardship make a person stronger? Yes. It builds resilience. It builds character. If so, under what conditions and at what point is it too much hardship? When it no longer feels safe, it no longer feels comfortable, and it no longer feels effective. And bottom line, because you can have hardship. Okay, say you don't have cable.
Yeah, you don't need to be in danger.
Hardship is hardship, and that's what people don't understand, because even the most wealthy people experience hardship. And it's called being humbled. When you are experiencing hardship and becoming a stronger person for it, it's you being humbled. You know, we all have this condition called humanity, right? It's the human condition. And if you think of the human condition as the whole, and then you think about the symptoms of the human condition, you have resentment, regret, remorse, you know, all the R's, right? It's totally R-rated when you are human. So you have all of those things. Well, how do you get over those things? How do you know how to stop feeling resentment? How do you know to treat resentment? Well, first of all, you learn some coping mechanisms to get yourself through. A lot of people use medication. Some people use alcohol. I use nicotine, caffeine, and weed. You know, that's what I do. That's how I use the medication. And then I have my nasty vices because I'm human, right? And so the human condition says that when we experience hardship, you either sink or swim. If you swim, you get to the next beach, right?
It's the crucible in which we forge ourselves.
And true story, because, you know, I wouldn't be this awesome guru if I didn't have such a shit kind of life before. You know, I guarantee you that every single blanket that I have in this house, which is a lot, we probably have, 50 blankets or more? So every single blanket I know, and I know where it came from, and I know, you know, what to use it for, what size it is, or where it'll go. Lots of
blankets for snuggle time.
Lots of blankets because, you know, I once was really cold and all I wanted was a blanket. And so that's what gets stuck in my head. Yeah. Now, that's when you know it's too much. When you cannot shake the feeling that you're going to be cold again.
It's like me and wasting food.
Yeah.
I have a big problem with wasting food.
Oh, it gives me anxiety, and that's why, especially when I'm fat, you know, because I really do. I have that obsessive compulsive thing in my brain that tells me that I have to do things a certain way. And so I go to therapy for it. And therapy helps. Medication helps. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for my behavior. I know what it is. I know why it is. And it's up to me to practice behaving. You know, people don't understand what that means either. How do you practice behaving, Beth?
Be aware of yourself.
That's critical, right? Be aware of your triggers, your boundaries, right? But be aware that what you're doing is working. So be aware of what is working, right? So if you know something's not working, you know you need to change it. Do you look back on all the times you failed? Absolutely, because those are what tell you what to do next, right?
Right.
If you know you want to quit smoking, I will ask you and say, have you ever quit smoking before? And you would say yes.
3 or 4 times.
Exactly. And I will say, good, you've had practice. So what ways have you tried? And you would tell me. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we find out all the ways you've tried, then we know what you haven't tried, because you don't know what you don't know.
True story.
So you find that out and you work it through and you say, okay, this process is working, but not as effective as I need it to. So then you tweak it just a little bit, right? So maybe on Wednesdays you have a certain time that you do the very same thing that you do all the rest of the days of the week. You just have it at a different time, right? Because you have to be adaptable, don't you?
Yeah, it helps.
Because if you're not adaptable, you end up like I am. And you start looking at ways to not adapt. And that's exactly what I did for most of my life. Looked for ways not to adapt because I didn't feel like I could. And part of that entailed drug use. So I think that because of that, I have a greater understanding for the clients that I meet who are struggling with addiction, right?
Yeah. I had a problem, almost a major problem with alcohol, but luckily it was only a minor problem at one point. And that was just because I was, just looking for, something to, take away the world for a little while. It's like anybody else.
You also escaped to media, too.
Mm-hmm.
That was your favorite thing, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that was your favorite thing. So
readily available.
Yeah. But I'm glad that media was, your first addiction, or else you probably would have been a pretty bad alcoholic.
I think it was like the last major one I broke.
Yeah. I have to say. And, you still work on it every day, just like I still working on every day, my vices. Because whenever you want to check out, you do seek those things that you already knew, right?
Yeah. Most of the time now, like, gosh, if I play a video game now, it's like that chicken game I have on my phone. Or if I have 5 minutes in between tasks, I have Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fun.
And I do Candy Crush because I'm the boss. I'm the boss at Candy Crush. Not really. But anywho's. Okay, so this was a tough question. Let's get one not so tough. We did answer it though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So if so, under what conditions is too much hardship? What do you think?
When you're in danger. Or when your mental health is in serious danger.
Right. So you say when you're in danger, and I 100% say when it doesn't feel good anymore. So you experience hardship to your own limit. You don't let someone else judge you, because what might be very difficult for Beth could be really easy for me, or the other way. Like Beth found it very easy to do the Python program. I might not. I don't know till I try, right? It doesn't mean that the hardship's not worth it. That's what you have to decide, is it worth it to you, right?
Yeah.
So video games weren't worth it to you.
Well, yeah, I really did discover that, like, because once upon a time I wanted to get into computer science and programming and learn all this and that and write video games and do cool stuff. And then I got it in my lap right here. And now that I have a better understanding, I'm glad it's not my career choice, because it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's too binary.
Right?
Ironically.
Yeah. And we are the least of.
Okay, what do we have here?
I don't know. If not, I'm going to have Carol ask us a question.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good one. Do you have a question, Carol?
Yeah, you can ask us a question. Or tell a story about us. We'll talk about it. Why are you previewing?
I'm not. I'm pulling it out, making sure we haven't
Lies.
seen it before.
If you could live forever, but only if your mind were placed in a computer today, would you do it? Why or why not? That's similar to that brain in a jar one.
Yeah, but that's kind of like, if you could, do you want to be in the Matrix?
If I could live forever, but only if I were placed into a computer and my living energy was able to go on, absolutely. That's what I'm doing literally right now. So every live video I do, every video period that I make, every picture that goes online, every single thing I say is going to live forever.
Yeah, as long as the internet is up.
So even if the internet's not up, everybody that's seen it, heard it, they'll talk about it.
That's a very philosophical way to look at it.
Well,
I think that's probably the most accurate way to look at it.
Maybe today I'm feeling very philosophical.
I mean, it's a philosophical question.
Oh, so you're not saying my answer was?
No, I said it was.
Wow. I know. I'm teasing you. Okay. So, you also said something the other day, and you said that you were happy that during the meeting there was no intimidating male coaches, in our IEP meeting with our kid. So here I'm setting male coach.
That's not what I meant. I know how it sounded. I know it's
whatever.
But a lot of the previous meetings I went to by myself, and there was always a very large person in there too.
So, okay, I have another confession, and your phone might be ringing soon.
Oh.
So on our way to Mandy's little gig, you got a phone call, and I answered it because you were driving.
Right, yeah.
And it was for Alex, our daughter, and it was a Navy recruiter. Now, I have a few personal opinions that I'm not going to share, period, just about my ideas for my daughter and the military. I'm going to let her decide on her own, but I can tell you right now, she doesn't want to go into the military. Not even an ounce of her wants to, because, she takes after me a little bit. It's all great, except when you get to the bottom line of the message, and it's not something that I would push. So, most likely, it's going to annoy her that she has to talk to someone like a recruiter, because what she needs to work on is asserting her boundaries and knowing herself. So I'm going to give him her phone number. Of course, she wasn't available, so I'm going to give it to him when he calls back and let her talk to him, because I know that she could learn a good lesson, and I know she won't sign up. If I thought for a second she would, I would not do it. Nope. But the joke's going to be on me if she tries to prank me and tell me she signed up, which I'm already ahead of her on that one. Be my luck, she'd be shipping off, and I'd be like, ha, yeah, right, come on, let's go home. And she'd be like, no, for real.
MEPS is not a fun process.
No. So talk about that, MEPS.
Oh, gosh.
You don't ever talk about that stuff.
I don't.
Talk about it.
It's not like traumatizing or anything like that. It's just the entire day is you can't be distracted from. You have to always
Tell
listen.
them what it is.
Oh, it's it's kind of like a whole day of testing that you go through before they accept you into the military.
So after you've already
you go to your recruiter, you fill out paperwork, you're like, yeah, I want to do this. This is the job I want, yada, 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 sign it. Then you go to MEPS, and then they do all the tests.
That's
blood
where
test,
they check your nuts.
Physical test, yes, that, among other things. And
do they stick a finger in the butt?
No.
But they make you do the dumb duck walk.
Yeah, and they do a lot of looking. A lot of looking. And the whole day is just
Look at how you blush when you talk about that. That's funny.
And then at the end of it, you raise your right hand and swear in. And then after that, you get on a bus and you're off to basic. And you start your day at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're probably not done until after midnight.
So tell me what your thoughts were going through MEPS. I'm curious.
A lot of boredom, anxiety, because just like the first time I went through MEPS, I was just like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
You were young though, 17,
yeah,
right?
I was 17. No. I think I was actually 18. I'm trying to remember because
I thought you went to MEPS before.
I was in the delayed entry program.
I know.
And so I signed up when I was 17, but I don't think I got to MEPS until I was 18 because I went to basic in June 95. Okay. I think I was 18 then.
Okay.
And then, and then you're off to the vacuum. And then you don't see the world again for the next, I think for me it was 17 weeks.
So how old were you the second time you went through MEPS?
I was in my 30s.
Quentin was 2, 3. Quentin was 3, I think.
Oh, right. So that would have been actually 28 or 29. Because we were 26. 26 when we had him, or 27?
Couldn't tell you. Not a clue. Count back. We lived out in Campbell.
Yeah, well, either way. Late 20s, early 30s. And I knew more about what was going on, as I knew it was going to be a suck day. So I had a book, and just sat there.
So you set yourself up for success this time, though.
And you can't
That's the advantage
sleep.
Of practice.
You can't sleep either because you have to listen for your name to be called. Or if you get put into a bracket, you got to listen for it. And it's terrible. From the time that you go to MEPS to the time you get out of basic training, it's suckfest.
A suckfest.
Yeah, it's just, there's no. It's a good experience. You get a good training, and you kind of see what you're made of when you really get put to the test. But it's not fun. I mean, it's not.
You've told me a couple stories. I'll remind you. One story is they tell you that you have to have underwear on, and you were in the line where a couple of guys weren't wearing underwear before they went.
Oh, at MEPS.
Yeah, at MEPS.
Boop, out you go.
And so, what the recruiter is supposed to tell you, and he did tell you, he's like, wear underwear because you have to be wearing underwear.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they just slipped through the cracks, or they thought, oh, I don't have to wear underwear, it's optional?
It could be any number of things. I think they set themselves up for failure on purpose.
Ah.
Because a lot of people go there, everybody has nerves. The entire place is nervous. When you walk in, you can feel it because it's a bunch of kids and they're going off to war. That's all they see in their heads.
And some of them are amped up, and some of them are petrified because it's their only choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you enlist or you go to jail, or you enlist or go to rehab. You enlist, because at that time that you were going in at 17 or 18, at that time you were going in then, they were accepting a lot of people.
Yeah, and they...
Not as many as the second time you went in. Then they were accepting you no matter what because they had to meet that quota.
And there's a lot of people there that, like, that to them is their life. And they are so nervous about this place because they're so nervous they're going to get rejected for one reason or another.
That was you.
And I figured I was going to be in. I didn't have any major
Not
problems.
worried about getting in. I'm talking about expecting to be in the military. Like you just knew that was your course.
Yeah, I knew I was going to be.
Because your dad was Air Force, right? And your uncle was Navy. Your grandpa was what?
Papa Pope was Navy.
Okay. And it goes back.
I think everybody's pretty much the Navy.
Yeah, you traced it back like to the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, some of the old McReynolds served in the Revolutionary War, absolutely. And, I mean, our family goes all the way back to the siege at Londonderry in, like, God, I don't even remember, like, late 1600s, early 1700s.
So, I've got a little bit of news, speaking of the lineage thing.
Yeah? What?
Well, I haven't really talked about it with the viewers or the listeners, but got a message on, so a while back, I found my mom's family, biological family on her mom's side. So I found my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, and their family, okay? So that's cool. It's all worked out great. I love them all. And we kept searching for her dad. Because they didn't share a dad. So in the search, I had sent a couple of messages to some people that looked like they would be my mom's dad or family of. And they all kept, getting rejected. Well, then we got blocked. My siblings and I got blocked from their tree and stuff. So it's clear, because we described in the email what was going on, it's clear that they don't want any part of it, and it's a little bit heartbreaking to me. I got to be honest with you, because I had high hopes, and of just finding out that other side. I really want to know that other side, and I didn't realize I'd quite feel that way.
I don't understand why you're gonna, work on your lineage, and then when a part of your actual, branch or tree or whatever, comes and says, hey, we're part of you, and then you block them. What's the point of even doing it in the first place?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. That's shame. When you feel shame, you reject ideas. You reject people. You reject feelings when you feel shame, don't you? Most people do. Don't you? Whenever you feel shame, don't you want to hide?
Yeah. So
that's just what it is. For them, it's a shameful act to have, whatever the circumstances were that created my mom, or that led to her choice of.
I mean, do you think it's that far up on the surface? I mean, it was such a long time ago.
It is, but sometimes it affects you to think that the parent that you knew wasn't the parent that they really were, and so it's quite possible that that's just what the case was. That perhaps they thought that their parents were a certain way, and when they found out that their parents actually had given up a kid, they might have felt a certain way about it, because I don't know if it's actually my mom's dad, or if it's a brother or a kid, or I don't know. I don't know who these people are. I just know that it's my DNA, and I know that it's my mom's dad's side, and my sister actually had somebody look into it for us and confirmed that to begin with. And so it's heartbreaking, but you know what? I am so thankful for the family that I do have, so I don't spend a whole lot of time on it. It's news, it's updates, and I hope one day to actually talk to him, meet him, something, you know.
Right.
But
Hope so. I mean, that's ideal, at
who
least.
knows? And you know, as I found out with my mom's other part of the family, found out that we have lived near each other for the majority of time, even when I was married before you.
Yep.
And you know, it's funny. I said that the other day, and the kids are like, "I didn't know you were married before."
That's like it was always just us two.
Yeah, you know. But do you think about that stuff? Like when you were a kid, what did you think?
What do you mean?
You know, well, because
Like,
your
where would
parents
I
were
be?
divorced.
Oh.
So did you think most people were divorced?
Well, I guess so, because, you know, I think, because what? Jeff's parents were divorced. Derek's parents were divorced. Dwayne's parents, well, he didn't know his dad at all. So.
Carol said she's sorry. I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
Maybe because she left us for a little while. Anyway, Jeff's parents and what?
Yeah, I think everybody, just about everybody I knew had divorced parents, so it was like the norm. You know, it's like, I never actually expected to even get married. Because I was like, if it's just going to be a divorce, then I'm not going to bother.
So guess what?
Break that cycle right now.
We didn't actually get married like most people do, though. You know, most people, there's like a courtship, dating, and then a proposal, and then they get married, right?
Yeah.
We skipped all of that. We went from being BFFs to parting ways, you know. You went into the military, I got married, I moved around, you moved around. You always found me because you stopped at my folks' house every single time, and you were like, where are they? And they would tell you, you know, and a lot of the time we would be buzzing around town, you know, and we were always missing each other, though.
Yeah.
And we would write letters back and forth, like real actual letters, and that was weird. I made you a newsletter one time.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I saved it on floppy for a really long time until it became obsolete. Then I used it as a coaster. I did, true story, multi-purpose, but
poignant.
right, yeah, but
lost to time, like tears in the rain.
Everything's lost to time, isn't it? What was I talking about? Now I'm thinking about coasters. Thanks a lot.
It was
Beth.
the letters back and forth.
Oh yeah, so we wrote letters back and forth, and then whenever
she wrote back.
Oh, no, I've been here. Sorry. Oh. Yeah, it sucks. It does, but you had moved in with my ex-husband and I because my ex-husband invited you to move in. We were BFFs and we had found each other again.
Yeah, it was.
And because we had moved back from Arkansas and we moved back to Greenville and we bought a house and we found you working at Hastings on Valentine's Day. And you tried to avoid us because you saw customers walking towards you.
It was a hard day, and it was busy, and I was coming up on the end of my shift, and I was tired, and I was working at Hastings while I was going to college. At that time, I was going to Texas A&M in Commerce.
Aggie.
Yeah, it was the closest campus. So
anyway,
yeah, and so here comes somebody out of the corner of my eye, and I'm just trying to finish this cart, get it restocked, so I can get out of there. So they get closer and closer. I'm just like, okay, here we go. Time to engage. And it was Boyd. He's all, Jimmy?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I was just starstruck. I couldn't believe you were standing there. And so you came over and hung out a few nights. Yeah. And then a few weeks, you know, you came over. And without me even knowing it, he pulled you aside and asked you if you wanted to move in.
No. It was one night he was bringing me back to the house, and and he said, "Hey, I want you to know that if anything ever happens to us, I want you to take care of her." That's what he told me, and I was just like, "Okay." And
then though he asked you to move in. We were all
I don't remember the details of how that happened. I just remember
I was in the kitchen and he was sitting at the table and you walked in and he asked you to sit down and he looked square at you and said, "Hey, why don't you just move in so you don't have to go home tonight?" because your folks had said you shouldn't, keep going over there. They're married. It's weird.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
yeah, and
What I remember though is because it was that decision. It's the decision I remember that we, kind of sat there and he asked a question, and then my initial response was to be like, no, because that's just not me. I don't do that. I'm not going to crash at your house, I got to take care of, I'm self-sufficient. I can manage myself.
You could not, by
But
the way.
before I could say no, I said yes.
Yeah, and it's like I'm standing there the whole time, and I mean, this is my house. This is my house. I'm supposed to have with my husband, but then I realized that if someone else was there, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. But initially it was that instinct to hide because I had to hide, some of the things that were going on in the house.
And it was platonic at that time. I mean,
not for me. In my head, there was nothing platonic.
I was respectful.
Yeah, you slept in your own room, on your own cot, and that's just the way it was. You didn't even really fully move in. It was a kind of nomadic weirdness for a while.
Well, yeah, I never expected to, be there permanently.
You slept in a recliner. You had a recliner in your room, and you slept on your recliner or on your cot.
Yeah.
And all you did was stay in there, watch movies, and play guitar and work. It was weird. I'm just putting that out there. It was really weird. Anywho's, so when he left, we got roommates. So we got 5 other people in the house with us, and all we did, basically, it was a frat house for a while.
Yeah, we just partied and drank all the time.
And I was a church secretary, and I rocked it too. I was a really good church secretary.
The best they ever had.
Desktop publishing, everything. And so I actually had 3 different bosses. So they were all of the cloth. They were all ministers. So I personally had to work under that, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself and that environment, and I learned what I could and couldn't tolerate. I even brought the kids to work with me,
Yeah, I think you tolerated a lot more than you should have in that place.
Well, it wasn't that I should or shouldn't have. I deserved it at that time. And that's the truth, because I needed to get a crash course in life. I didn't even have my driver's license whenever I got divorced.
Not entirely your fault.
It's irrelevant. I didn't have it. Right. And so I didn't have that. I didn't have a job, So it was really, I needed the opportunity. So I deserved every bit of stress I had because I had a choice. You see, and that's where the difference is. At that point, I had a choice. And I chose to allow it. And, we cannot change what we allow, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't seek to change it because I needed to grow through it. And by cracky, I did. And, that's where it goes back to that other question.
Yep, it sure does. That hardship question.
And it was a hardship for a while. But I muscled through, and bet your ass I know how to be an office manager now. And it's really the only reason I've been able to survive with my business, which is Sacred Groves, Transformational Pathways, Life Coaching, and Holistic Retail Gifts.
Wow. You've practiced. It sounded nice.
I haven't practiced a single time, by the way. That was just on the fly. And you can find me at www.sgpathways.com. Okay, so carry on. Anywho's, it's been a very humbling experience being a business owner. And I know that you have experienced that too. Because while we lived on Austin Street in Texas, you had your own business too before I had mine.
I did. I learned very quickly that being a business owner was not for me.
Right. But you rocked the shit out of being a juvenile detention officer because you cared.
Yeah.
So how was that though?
It was tough. It was emotionally tough because you had kids coming in there for murder.
What was the youngest kid? What about that 9-year-old you had in there?
I'm trying to remember if he was 7.
Six or 9. No, it was.
He was really little.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything to give him because he couldn't fit anything. All the jumpsuits and everything were for kids that were like, maybe 13, 14 years old.
Oh.
And he had, and it's just, I don't even know why this happened the way this is, but this is how screwed up it was there. They were it was a Hispanic family, and they were having a cookout. And I don't know all the details. I can kind of remember the report when I read it, but they had a 12 gauge, and they were going to, I think they were going to kill an animal and cook it. Yeah, butcher it and cook it and everything. And he accidentally shot his brother with it.
How old was his brother?
I think his brother was like...
He was younger, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like 3. And so he didn't have a chance. And so they bring this little kid in, and gosh, I mean, he was as tall as my waist.
And he didn't even belong there. It was an accident.
Yeah, he should have, been in some kind of protective service. They shouldn't have been in friggin' juvenile detention. It was bullshit.
So some of the times were hard, but you actually did reach a few kids. How did you help some of the kids that were struggling? You got some
just
of
listen to them, really, because they, a lot of their lives, they got people telling them, shut the F up, you're worthless. And, sometimes they just want somebody to listen. And, but they do have a lot of, some of them are, come and go, and you never see them again. And that's good. Those are the ones that I like, because it's like, they screw up that one time, and this really kind of got to them, so that you're not going to see them again. And then you have your repeat offenders, and a lot of them had like long family lines. It's like, oh, okay, you're one of those last name people, from the town that we all know you and your whole family's troublemakers and all that. And I think we had molesters. We had a kid. He got tried as an adult. He was 15. Tried as an adult and given 44 years. Because he molested his little brother. And the sad thing is that it was hard to believe that, he was capable of doing this, because he was such, a charismatic, gentle kid. He was funny, naturally funny too. And and I read through his report, and I was like, these don't match up. This kid needs help, but no. He went to big boy prison for 44 years.
So are you pro helping people in the system not stay in the system? That means reform. You hear prison reform, right? But you don't really know what it means unless you've actually seen the prison system.
Right. Most of it's a private, it's privatized, and, and they move prisoners around like...
It's money.
Yeah, they move prisoners around like baseball players.
But if someone takes a shot and volunteers at a prison, it makes a big difference, because prisons don't turn away volunteers when you have something to offer them, right?
Yeah, and a lot of I can't speak for the entire prison system across the
whatever.
United
Yes,
States.
you can.
I can only speak from things I've seen in the news and my own personal experience. And which in the prison system is extremely limited. It was just going over there to do this, that, or the other, and it wasn't even a prison. It was the county lockup.
Well, I can tell you that as a juvenile, I was taken to juvenile whenever I was running the streets, and I wasn't really running the streets, but the ex that I was with happened to have a history. So anybody who was with these people were, profiled, right? They were taken into the system because they're an accessory to whatever's going to happen with this other person. So I happened to be with the wrong people, and not that I didn't deserve to go. Trust me, I know that I've done some crap in my life, but I've never done anything as serious as what I was being told I was doing. And so I was taken, and unfortunately I had an option, and I took the easiest option out, which was to not get in trouble. And in order to not get in trouble, you're required to perform certain duties for the guards. And so I was let out, and it was going to happen whether you wanted it to or not. So it's like either you can do what you're asked, or you can suffer. And I was not about to suffer.
That was something that I learned shortly before I lost my job in that place. Because,
Really?
I won't say any names.
Yeah, please, no names.
The female officer who became a lead detention officer, that was a position that was removed and then put back just specifically for her because she did some under the desk work for the deputy, what's his face.
Yeah, I got you. But you know, as a juvenile, I didn't have a choice, and they totally used their power over me.
Yeah, and it's like shortly, once again, it was like I started, hearing things about, her and the boss, and then things happening in the kitchen between, Dio's and other, and it's just like I didn't even care when I left. I was like, you guys, I gotta go.
So you worked.
Can't be part of this.
You worked at juvenile until you just couldn't do it anymore. And I don't blame you. I don't know that I could have done it. I probably would have been in some trouble.
And the bad thing is it wasn't just there. We had kids that they came in, and we'd seen them a couple of times, and so they'd been in front of the judge a couple of times, and finally, one of them got sent to what was that place in Greenville, the psych ward?
Glen Oaks.
And so they sent him there, and then he had, I think, 30 days. He made it 28 days. And then he was back in juvenile with us getting ready to be resentenced. And I was like, what is wrong? Why couldn't you make it those last couple of days? And he's like, you don't know what it's like in there.
You don't.
And then that was a sobering moment. And I was just like, are you
and
fucking, it's like that?
Here's the thing. The reality is whenever you're when you're put in a situation like a lot of these kids are, it's not a choice because they're kids. They don't have a choice who their parents are or their siblings are, but what they do have a choice is who listens to them. And as an adult now, I look around at every single kid on the playground and every single kid at school, every kid I'm around, I look at for what they have to say, but not what they say, but what they have to say, what they're doing, how they're behaving. It's behaviors. Behaviors tell you everything, because anything you feel internally, you manifest externally. So if you are anxious and chaotic inside, you are going to be anxious and chaotic on the outside. And so when you see kids like that, your heart goes out to them. I mean, mine does. When I see kids that are at a bit of a disadvantage that nobody else pays attention to because, they're entitled, because they're either, from a so-called good family, by all perspectives, it looks like a upstanding family, and then you have a kid who can't get right. And you're like, why can this kid not get right? He has nothing to complain about. He has all the money. He has parents, blah, blah, blah. Because you don't know his struggle. Yeah. So instead of judging him, just listen to him. Just be there and listen to him. And not just him, her, they, zen, whatever they are. Just listen.
To clarify a little bit, the murder case wasn't that little kid. That was just a tragic accident.
Okay.
No, we had 2 in for capital murder. And because they had robbed somebody and then killed him. And I think they took away that whole situation. They made like $2.78.
That's terrible. But you can't look at the kid and say, that's a bad kid. That's a kid that lacks. It's a kid that doesn't know any different. Yeah. And he can't help that when he's born into it. So how do you reform kids of neglect and abuse? Yeah. What do? And you be there first.
Right. The 2 that were involved with the person who actually committed the crime was an adult. And those 2, because of the neighborhood they were in, they couldn't say no. They had to be there with them. Yeah. They had to be part of it. Otherwise, something would happen to them.
Or their families. Yeah, I know that story all too well. And it's a cruel reality. And that's why I said, I watched Shameless, and I'm like, I get that, because I know people, or I've been people like that, I mean, I've talked about, growing up with an alcoholic parent. That was not far off the mark on occasion, and you grew up with an alcoholic parent too, so there's parts that you could identify. And it just becomes the norm.
Yeah.
You know, and I look at our kids and I'm like, we have such fantastic kids. And today we were told that too. You know, we always are told that our kids are great. And it makes me feel good, but we've had a lot of help. It's never just been us.
Yes.
You know, because we have family. Well, we have my dad now that's helping us raise the kids, you know, because anybody
he's been putting Quentin
who's
to work
present,
a lot.
yeah, anybody who's present with your family is helping you raise your children, whether you believe it or not, they are, because they learn from example. So my 80-year-old dad is an example, not always a good one. My kids eat ice cream every night after dinner because they have to have dessert after a meal now.
Influenced by Grandpa.
Totally. Ice cream eater. But he can't get his Bluebell here because that's just Texas. So he settles. You know, on his road trip he's going to be eating Bluebell.
Yeah, I imagine.
I'm sure
it's like when we go to Texas, we get Whataburger.
And also burritos.
Yep.
So, but we've had Dad helping us raise them now. We had Carol helping us raise them, and she still helps us raise them. We've had my sister, you know. We've had Ellen, your stepmom. You know, she was there a lot of the time when you were deployed. She would come out and bring diapers.
Yeah.
Diapers was always a big thing.
She always knows what to get you.
Oh, man, she did. Like, she would bring diapers. She would bring... Your dad brought out chicken one time that gave us food poisoning. But nonetheless, it was the intention.
That was unfortunate.
But it was just one of those things.
It was good chicken.
It was.
I don't remember going, oh, this is gross. It was delicious.
Yeah, and that's the problem. But nonetheless, we had help there. And every single teacher that the kids have ever had. People don't think about that either. But, you know, every single teacher that has ever been present with your kid has given them something, you know, that they use. What did Oliver say today? You said I would be proud of him.
Yeah, he got home from school today. He rides his bike. And we have a back alley that goes the same length. It runs parallel with the main street that goes down where he goes towards school. So he's coming back, and instead of taking the main street towards, you know, our house, he takes the back alley all the way up. And it's a bit of a rough ride, and it's a bit more uphill. And he goes, you know, I hiked all the way up the alley this morning. I just needed to feel the burn.
Feel the burn.
Yeah.
That's
like
adorable.
10-year-old.
Yeah, that's adorable. And, you know, our kids are always saying something that makes us pause, you know, because we wouldn't have said stuff like that. Yeah. You know, and maybe we did say stuff like that, but
I would have just said, hey, I came up this way. I wouldn't have had, you know, the whole thing to say about it, too. I just wanted to feel the burn. He just has all this creative,
he is my child when it comes to the need to talk.
Yep.
You know.
He's so funny.
He said something, too, about, he drew a picture with him and Grandpa. And they're wearing the same clothes. And they're doing this nice... loving embrace, you know, they have their arms around each other, and there's the dog and the cat and all this stuff, and he signed it in cursive, in like the
really nice cursive
penmanship
too. For a 10-year-old, really nice cursive.
Way better than mine. And I'm sitting there looking, I didn't teach him that. You and I did not teach him cursive. His teacher did, you know, and that's what I'm talking about. We often think that it's us that shapes our children, right? We think that they hold our values and everything that they get from us, that's what they're going to take moving forward.
It's from every person they encounter throughout their day.
Yep. At about 5 years old, they're like, you know what? You are not the sun and moon, Mom. It is time for some independence. And they start looking around for others to mimic.
Yeah. I'm getting less hugs from Oliver, and it's starting to be a bummer.
And I'm getting more hugs. It's funny because now he's like hugging me and high-fiving me and hanging out with me because now I'm cool.
Then
apparently.
I'm like, yay, hi, slap hands, and there he goes.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't need his mommy as much. But your cat still needs you, so there's that. Well, I still need you, obviously.
I'll take that.
Okay, there you go. And sometimes the chinchillas need you when they need their bath, and I'm not reaching up there.
Oh, her internet keeps going in and out.
Aww.
That's like our internet, so you'll be used to it when you get here.
But you know what? Our internet's been fantastic tonight because I've had a lot to say, I guess.
Yeah.
The planets
normally we've cut out already like 3 times, but it doesn't seem like it's happened yet.
Better knock on wood.
Right.
So I need a new desk, speaking of knocking on wood, and then this whole environment will be changed again. Are you ready for the environment to change again in here?
No. Soon I will get all the hugs.
Yes, yes. Carol will get all of the kids' hugs. She's going to suck all the youth out of them as soon as she gets here. I know it. But that's okay because my kids need extra hugs all the time.
It'll be a hug battle royale.
Yeah, I'll ring the bell and it'll be you and Carol, 2 teams, and the kids will just have to line up and see who gets the most. This is ridiculous. Maybe we can have a hug off.
Hug off?
Yeah, so whoever wins gets like the big Hershey Kiss. You know, the big giant one?
Yeah.
Of course. You know, Beth, we should probably wrap up here because I'm pretty sure people are done listening to us.
Yeah, we're boring.
Well, it's date night, and we can be boring if we want, you know? But at least if you're home on a Friday night at 6 o'clock or 6:30 tonight, about 6:30 because we were late. We were hanging out with Mandy too long. But if you're home by yourself and you want to talk to somebody or, you know, you just want to listen to somebody and a charming southern voice.
I'm starting to pick up my Midwestern accent.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, it's going to be another 5 minutes, folks, because I got to say this. I did not realize what a hick I was or how much I've improved until my dad moved in. And I could identify how I still sounded like him. And I could definitely tell how I don't still sound like him. Because Hawaii is called Hawaii. It's not Hawaii. San Antonio is not San Antone. Knife is knife, not knife. There's no knife. And there's no cannot either.
What about skizzers?
Definitely there's no skizzers.
No skizzers.
No skizzers. And there's 100 other things that he says that I look at and go, this is why I was made fun of. This is how I talked, and I thought that it was how you talked. And so now here I'm stuck sounding like a bumpkin most of the time. But I am working on it. You told me I didn't have to, though.
You don't? It's your southern charm.
You think my hick dialect is charming?
Of course I do.
Stop lying.
Not lying.
If you're lying, you're dying. And I said to you, whenever I was trying to get my program to work, I said to you, cross your fingers, hope to die, stick 1,000 needles in your eye. And what did you say to me? Isn't that for a promise?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you were promising that it would work. That's what you're doing. Okay.
I promise nothing.
You know what? I like it when you're on here with me, but I really miss Joe. Not that I don't love you, and I love doing the show with you, and we have a good time. I miss Joe's enthusiasm, his energy, and his awareness, you know, in most situations. I think about him a lot, and he was off doing his auto detailing venture, and today he sent me a message that he is closing up his business. It's been a lot of work on Emily. She's on the spectrum. And just for mental health, you know, they're circling in the wagons, I think, and making sure that all members are taken care of. And his daughter Olivia just moved back home. She was away at college for a little while, and with the pandemic and everything going on, situations are changing. Stuff's going on. And so she moved back home. She's still going to school. But we did go and play Uno with them.
We did.
And it was amazing.
And y'all lost.
I won so many games. It was ridiculous. Really, you know better. Don't make me call Joe and put him on speaker right now. Girl, you know I won more than 3. Anywho's. So, Karen is a fantastic hostess. Like, she's always got it put together. And I won like 4 or 5 games. I need you to stop lying. Fake freaking news right now. Fake news. And I know that Joe would lie too, just to lie, because he's a big jerk.
You can't listen to anybody. It's a conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy. Everyone's lying against me. I won. I won so many games. Y'all all liars. I know. But Emily also won. I like playing with Emily, but she played a horrible, vicious prank on me. Her and Joe. Emily's little minion Joe.
Oh, right. I remember that.
It really, you forgot. Okay, so I hate bats. Absolutely hate bats. They
and we
freak
have bats.
me out. Don't remind me. Yes, we have bats, and I can hear them in here when I sleep at night. It kills me.
They can make guano bowls.
Stop, I'm making no guano boats. Anyway, so she had the thought to get fishing line because it's clear and hang this godforsaken rubber bat that really flopped around real and hang it from their ceiling fan right above the table where we were sitting to play Uno. So Joe did give me a heads up that there was a surprise for me whenever I went in there and to look around. So I was on guard. I figured it would be, something jumping out of somewhere. But it was equally as bad. So here's this bat flying around, and as soon as I saw it, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies, like in the worst way, like their wings slapping against me and their little hooky
turn
things.
into a big wiener.
Yeah, and I also did
Weenie.
another... You stop it. I also did another thing that was totally the wrong thing to do, which was try to put on that hemp face mask.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, man, that was the grossest experience, and I won't be doing that again. And I had half a mind to do it live, and I'm really glad I didn't because I was messed up the rest of the night for it. And even after I took it off, I messed up and I touched my face, and it had the slime on it. Oh, it's so wrong. I couldn't handle it. We will be posting pictures of the fundraiser thing that we went to of Mandy's. And we had a good time. And you got a picture of Mandy throwing me down the slide.
It was a good picture.
It was awesome. And you were like, are you okay? But it was an airbag. So, yeah, I'm okay. It was really fun. I just went into the slide.
Yeah, but your shoulders and back are like jank factor 10.
Yeah, well, your face is jank factor 10. You didn't even do it, chicken.
Nope.
Chicken or smart, I don't know. Anyway, I had fun. I love you, babe. Thank you for being on.
Yes.
I miss you, Joe. Regular Joe. I'm tired of all the schmoes that aren't Joe. I need Joe back. I really do. I miss him. He needs to be here with us. And so does Carol. Carol and Joe can be our background noise, too. They can heckle
Background
us.
noise?
Yeah, because neither one of them want to talk. And so they might whisper with each other, and then we would just scoot the mic and just see what they're saying. Or get a Whisper 2000.
Cave kitties.
Cave kitties? There has to be a delay. What is cave kitties?
What were we talking about most recently?
Couldn't tell you.
Were we talking about caves?
I smoke pot, Beth. I don't know.
Did we talk about caves?
Maybe. Anyway, okay. Well, really, we're done. I want to wait for her reply, though, because now I'm really confused.
Yeah.
And I want to address it because she just said cave kitties.
It was only a minute ago, so we didn't, we
Why
weren't
did I
outside of time that much.
But why did I just read titties? Oh, bats. Oh, they are
cave
not
kitties.
cave kitties. Oh, God.
That works. I like that.
That's because you're dumb.
I like bats.
No. Oh, who are you? Would you hold one?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
Why would you hold
we
a
caught that
bat?
the one that Fat Billy caught.
Nope.
that
Okay,
she
I'm done
killed.
talking about. Okay, I'm good.
Fred
Okay,
and
you
I released it.
I'm good. I'm okay now.
Turns
All
out
right.
you got to. Throw
Okay,
them
no.
up there.
Don't want to know. Do not want to hear it. Not at all. I went to Carlsbad Caverns with Dad. I know way too much about bats.
Bats are cave kitties.
You are so evil. Oh, I like kitties. Kitties are cute. Bats are not cute. Okay, I'm sitting
Cave
down. I need to go have a
kitties.
shower now. Okay, I need to have a shower now because
Shakaka.
stop. Okay, I love you, dear. You're evil. I'm just letting you know right now. You can be done now. Oh wait, go off on a joke. Give me a riddle
I don't
or a
have a
joke.
joke.
You read a whole bunch of jokes on that Laffy Taffy.
Oh my god, that was like a year ago.
That was the other day.
You had me laffy taffing like since last Halloween.
Oh, not Laffy Taffy. Okay, shut up. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're reading jokes off of something. What was it? You're reading jokes off of something. And they were really dumb. And now I don't know. And now it's irrelevant. You've ruined... Oh! I wanted to show people this. Check this out. See this card? My good friend, Amy Marty, made me this card because she's awesome. And it was really cool. And here's the inside. And it's steampunk because we're steampunk people.
It was kind of decoupage the way it's put together.
I
It's really
loved
awesome.
it. I told Quentin that I would have loved to tear the cardboard, but I wouldn't have been able to decide what piece to use.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I would have looked at him and wanted to use them all. I would have made 100 cards and just kept tearing it. Anywho, love you. Thank you. I think we addressed everything. And Carol ruined it.
No.
Ruined it with the cave kitties. Blah.
Or made it better.
She does make things better. All right, guys. We're done here.
All
now
right.
it's off for our date night
Yes.
in Shameless. Thanks, guys. Later. You got to say it.
Bye.
Thank you.